Alright, in today's demo, we are going to show how to join a Linux server to a Windows Active Directory or AD domain, or join a Windows domain. So let's use a diagram. So typically, when we are working in the corporate environment, we typically always will be the domain user. So basically, we log on to our user laptop, workstation, and interact with either Windows server or Linux server, and so on and so forth. However, typically, in the corporate environment, those servers are its domain join. Basically, we will have something like a AD server or domain server, and then those Linux server or Windows server is going to join the domain, so it becomes domain join the servers. So this task typically done by the system admin on server build. So it's typically not our responsibility. But this demo is mainly for the lab. Okay, so in the lab, so we're going to demo how to join a Linux server to a domain controller, okay, or AD server. So let's start it. So in this demo, the prerequisite, see, we already have a domain name or domain active, like a domain controller or Active Directory. We also have a user. It has enough privilege we can allow us to join the domain. Also, the Linux server can you can on the same network or can see the AD server. So in that way, you can join firewalls are open. Okay. So in addition, the Linux server should have all the package support this Active Directory. So that is the prerequisite. We already have a domain in my case. So here's the demo system. So I have a domain name called exp.lab. So the server it is Windows 2022, and here's the IP address. And I have a username called expadmin. So I'm going to join this domain. So this is the server name, server OS and IP all. In my case, I also have a host name called the DC01. Okay, so that is not important, just a name. Okay, so this is the lab system. So in this demo, I'm going to do two demos. First one, it is a Linux server. It is the OS is Oracle Linux version 9, and the host name of this server is 09 for simplicity. This is the server name. And then we're gonna install whatever packages needed to support this AD operation. So here's the command, okay? And after that, we will follow a few steps. And so basically, we will first try to see if we can discover this domain. Typically, if we can discover the domain, that means that everything network is setup is good. Okay, so like in the network setting where you find the DNS name, those kind of things, and then we can join the domain. So we can take a look. After that, once the domain join, we can test if we can locate an AD user. We also will do a simple test, okay, to find this user, and also we do a small modification. Okay. All right, so I'm going to work on the first server. So the first server, it is this server. It is Oracle Linux, as I said. It is Oracle Linux. In this, this is Red Hat release, so a family. So that is just represent one set of Linux flavor or dialects. Okay. So the IP address for this server, it is IPA. This is the IP address here. So, and the DC server, the domain controller. If I do a pin, okay, you can see it. DC, I'm called DC1. So this is the domain controller. This is the server name because it is already set. Like for example, either in the etc host or in the corporate, you can have a DNS server to locate the domain controller. Okay. So now first we're gonna run this command to run the install those packages. So you will see it's already installed. I just want to save some time. Okay, so you can see these few packages. It is already installed. It's needed. So the package we need is like rim, D, SSD, and these two. Okay, so now we can see, now before we do that, we also can do a cat etc resolve.conf. Sometimes when we do the troubleshooting, you might check the resolve.conf, make sure, and your name server, it is pointing to the DNS or domain controller, or also the search. It's so you can find out it's easy to do the search. Okay, so now we're gonna do a discover, see if we can see this domain. So as I said, our domain is exp lab. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so you can see it is we already searched, right? You can see those successful. There is called rim name. You see, this is use uppercase. They use Kerberos authentication, and the domain name is lowercase. So, and the client software used SSSD. Okay, that is, and a few other packages. It's already installed. Okay. Server software is AD Active Directory, so it is pretty straightforward. Okay. So now we're going to join. Okay. So we can just simply join. It is called rim join this domain. By default, if you not specify users, you're gonna use administrator. So in my case, we're gonna use a user called expadmin. That is a user on the domain controller. AD user have the privilege to join the domain. Okay. -v is verbose, so we can see the process. Okay. Now they will ask, the password for this user. In my case, it's exp admin. You can see uppercase exp.lab. That is called rim. Okay. Now I'm gonna give the password, and see what's gonna happen. Now it is contact to the remote, you see, and then it says successful. So now let's see if we can check if we can get a user from the domain. So let's just try use exp admin, because this is a domain user. So let's do this. You can see it says no such user. However, if you postfix with this domain name exp.lab. This is this domain, okay? Now you can find it. You can see it. This is the user UID. This is the name, group name. You know, you see the domain user and so on and so forth. Okay, so that means everything's successful. Okay, but join the domain test. So we are to test it. Okay. So sometimes it's more handy, so we don't want like a fully qualified name. We just want to use the like short name. For example, when we check the user, we don't need like a post append this domain name against the user. Okay, so that to do that, typically we will do a modification to the ssd.conf. So let's take a look at this. So in this conf, the line we are interested is this line. It says use fully qualified names equals true. And so because we don't want to use the fully qualified, just use the name. So we can just comment it out. Okay, so I'm going to just comment it out. Default, it is false. So now we're going to do a restart. Okay, so we're going to restart the SSD. So after restart SSD, now you can see if I do ID exp admin, this domain user, you can see now you don't need to append this at the domain name, so you're already able to be able to log on to find this user and log on if you have the password to the and also you can see here, you see this is a domain user, so they got all these group numbers from the domain. Okay, so that is for the Oracle Linux. So we just did a simple test. So for each individual user, typically the domain admin can create your user. We can use our domain ID to log on to either Linux server or Windows server. So in this demo, as I said, we are interested in Linux. So because Windows join domains is relatively simple, you can use PowerShell or use GUI too. Okay, so Linux mainly command line. So I'm not going to demo this part. Okay, so I'm only demo like Linux join the domain, just for in case we want to do some experiment and learn new stuff. Okay. All right, so that is the first. It is Linux, Oracle Linux. So the second Linux server, in my case, I have a host name called U24. This is IP address. The OS is Ubuntu 2404. Okay, so that is the Ubuntu Debian system, like family. So for that one, we need to install those packages. So I just research on the internet and find what package we need. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead to install. You will see it's already installed. I just want to save time for this video. Okay, you can see everything's already installed. You can see all the packages is installed. Okay, if some of this not installed, they will install. Okay. So after that, we're gonna do the same thing. We'll do a rin discover. So make sure we can discover the domain name. So it's called exp.lab. One thing I'd like to mention, so we can find it, right? Similar thing. One thing I would like to point it out. To join the domain, you need to make sure the time between your server and the AD server or domain controller, the time is the same. Okay, like not within like 5 minutes, something like that. Otherwise you might get an error, just FYI. Okay, a very strange error. Okay, so now we discovered the domain. Now we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna join. Okay. We're gonna run the same command. So we're gonna run. So now we're gonna join, right? So as I said, if we don't specify the username, then they will use administrator. Like I showed example. Now you see. They ask the administrator. Okay, so because I also know the administrator password, so I'm gonna use another user perform this kind of same thing. Okay, whichever user have the join the privilege, we can use. Typically, as I said, this is not our job. Typically, it's like sysadmins or other people's job to do these things, because in this demo I'm building something I can do tests at, our own laboratory. So now you can see it is successful. Now let's see, before I do that, okay, let me do this exp.lab. Yeah, so this you use short name or the fully qualified name. You can find both way to find the user. So let's do the same thing. So I'm gonna do a exp admin to find this user. As said, because for this Ubuntu we haven't modified a customized SSD config, so we will not find the user. Similar thing if we do append the domain name as the user, you will find the similar thing. Okay, for example, if you want to find the administrator, you can find it as well. Any user in the domain, so we can find out the administrator. Okay, administrator. Okay, you can see, right? So you can find this user. As I said, I like the way to customize this use same thing as SSD, and so typically I like problem also it is a practice in the corporate environment. We don't use the fully qualified name, and yeah, we may also make a small or like this one, like fallback home dir. So we will see. But in this demo I just just do one customization for the fully qualified name. Okay. So after that we do a system CTL restart SSD. Okay, that is the software for Linux and interact with the AD. So after that, now you can see it. If I do ID, so it's still working, right? So if I use this short name, it is still working. Okay. So yeah. So let's see. Let me use this window. So let me see. Let's log on to our server. Okay, so I want to use this example. Okay, let's see. I'm log on as a Linux user. See what happened. Okay, I'm going to SSH. So the AD user. So it's gonna be. I'm gonna use this user as example. And to the server itself. So I'm going to see, before I do this, let me see if I can pin this 09, okay? If I can pin, then I can go ahead to do a connection. So 09 is not pinnable, so let's use the IP address, so 192.168.1.109, okay? So, okay, so I can give it a try. So let's do a first. I'm using the root user. This is a non-domain user. Okay, Okay, so you see I log on. Okay, now I'm trying to use a domain user. See what happens. Okay, so I'm going to use exp admin user, the domain user, to log on the Linux box. Okay. Oh, I got the password wrong. Let me re-enter the password. Okay, so now you can see it. They create a directory under /home, and also you see the directory name. It is with that exp.lab. So sometimes we don't like this style. So let me also do a go back to early we just did. So I'm going to do a, let's see, I'm going to make a change like this. Okay, so if I change to like remove this just percentage u, so that's good enough. So let me restart this SSD. Okay, so now you can see, right? So because all local users like this way. Okay, so I don't like with the create a home directory with, like, for example, this we append with domain name. So let's try one more time. Okay, so I'm exit, and I'm gonna remove this, give it one more try. Okay, so let's see how the user is going to create their home for the first time. Okay, all right, so let's see this time. Yeah, CPWD. Now you can see the user create first time log on, create a user just home and this username instead of username at at domain name. Okay, so this is just it's not necessary, so I just mention here. So basically two things. One thing is if you want to use a fully qualified name or not. If you don't want, so you can comment down that line. And if you want the directory, the user home directory created, you can just change that, remove add %d. Okay, so this %d means the domain name. All right, so before we leave, also let's see. I'm also going to just for FYI, so let's see how we're gonna leave a domain. Let's see in our lab, right? So if it says I don't want my machine join the domain, how do I do that? So let's see, we're gonna also demo see how to leave domain. Okay, so how to leave a domain. So let's see this is so no, we already joined the domain, so let's leave domain. Okay, so delete let me choose a command. Leave domain is very simple, so it's just basically this line. You can just see rim leave then domain name, but I wanted use -v to this way. Okay, so I demo two ways. Okay, so this is, you see, they ask leave the domain. Let me enter the password for that. Now you see it's a successful unenrolled machine from the rim. Okay, now if we do a exp admin trying to locate this domain user, you will see no such user, right? Or if I try to see exp domain, you cannot find this use anymore because this machine is not domain joined machine. Okay. So I'm also let me also leave the domain for the another machine. So in this time I'm going to just do a simple way. So I just see this is a join, right? So I'm gonna see just leave, okay, without the password. Okay, so maybe I use the -v just so the word browse. You can see it is see successful on root machine from the RIM. Okay, so that is how you leave a domain. Okay, of course in the real world we will rarely do this unless you have a machine you need like decommission a machine, so you will otherwise it's but as we practice at our own lab, so we have the freedom to do whatever we like. All right, so that's all for today. Just for the Active Directory for Linux, because this is very popular in basically every corporate environment. All right, so that's all for today.